Now $700,000 could buy you a decent first house, potentially in a leafy suburban street. It might have 3, maybe 4 bedrooms, and if you're lucky, even a swimming pool. Or you can have just one of these, the fastest road-going Ferrari currently on sale in Australia, the F12 Berlinetta. So the question is, would you mortgage your life for your first home, or would you live at large in your dream car? Now the F12 is effectively the replacement for the previous 599 and follows the same formula as the company's flagship 2-seat front-engine sports coupe. Underneath its sleek Pininfarina design body is a power-packed version of the 6.3 litre V12 that's also found in the FF 4-seater and the LaFerrari hybrid hypercar. In the F12 it produces a staggering 545 kilowatts at 8,250 RPM. And has 690 Newton meters of torque from 6,000 RPM. Driving just the rear wheels, it is capable of accelerating from 0 to 100 in 3.1 seconds and can reach a top speed in excess of 360 kilometers an hour. Despite the significant increase in power, Ferrari has put a lot of effort into improving fuel consumption, and although its official claim of 15.7 litres per 100 k's is right up there, it is actually 30% better than the 599 it replaces. But none of that matters in real life anyway, especially when it sounds like this. Now when it's not at full noise, it's actually reasonably restrained when you're cruising along, although its huge Pirelli tyres do create a fair bit of road noise in the cabin. But that temptation to floor it through a tunnel and hear its V12 wail is never that far away. Well, it obviously doesn't have the space of a 3-bedroom house, but from the inside this thing certainly feels better built than your average 70s weatherboard. It is absolutely gorgeous from the cabin. In fact, it's a work of art. The materials used, you know, come from the best quality and handcrafted by the best in the business. Not only does the F12's shapely curves look gorgeous, its body has been designed in the Formula One team's wind tunnel, which has resulted in a number of unique features. The most obvious is what Ferrari calls the Aero Bridge. It is essentially these 2 channels that run along the bonnet and direct air through gaps in the front guards, which direct air over the side of the body. It's a clever way of producing more downforce without slapping ugly wings all over the car. It also has active brake cooling ducts that open when you're pushing it to the limits, but otherwise they stay closed to reduce drag. Now speaking of brakes, the F12 has the latest carbon composite stoppers with massive 400mm front and 360mm rear discs. Now there's no denying this is quite a big car, and it is actually quite intimidating to drive around town, especially knowing that it costs $700,000. But the steering is quite light and it's actually quite docile and easy to drive. The 7-speed dual clutch gearbox is relatively smooth, the engine's quite happy to just labour along under 2,000 revs, and the suspension, while it's taut, you know, it feels relatively well damped. And it kind of makes you feel like you're a race driver. The steering wheel has all the controls on it, including the indicators, starter button, suspension settings, the windscreen wipers, and the Manettino, which basically changes all the settings for the diff, the electronic stability control, the gearbox, everything. You literally feel like Kimi Räikkönen or Fernando Alonso. And it also has shift lights in the top. Suspension's default mode is actually the hardcore sports setting, but it does have those magnetic dampers that allow you to customize it, and that goes to what Ferrari calls bumpy road setting. But you do know that it is built for something else, and that is this. Oh my god, this thing is phenomenal! Wow. Now this is a very, very fast car. But even though it has the engine in the front, it has this really neutral balance and just phenomenal levels of grip. In fact, you really need a racetrack, and one like Phillip Island or Eastern Creek that is seriously fast, to really explore the limits of this car. So yes, for $700,000 you could buy your first house. But this Ferrari F12 is absolutely epic and worth every penny. It is truly a staggering car and easy to drive around town. You could live with it every day. But when you get that rare opportunity to unleash the prancing horse, well, it is just an amazing car. In fact, just excuse me for a sec. Yeah, Ma, clear out the spare room in the garage. I'm moving back home. Why? Well, I've just bought a Ferrari.